football.
Yeehaw! It's time for the Texans Squad, sponsored by Gametime. Everything Houston Texans, every week. Bringing you the big hits, game-changing plays, and all the action straight from the Lone Star State. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Saddle up and squad up. It's the Texans Squad Show, starting now.
And for the first time in the history of this squad show, we have things going on a football field that aren't minicamp, that aren't OTAs, but they are training camp as we creep nearer and nearer to real football games being played for your Houston Texans. Hello and welcome this evening to the Locked On Texans Squad Show. We appreciate you stopping by. I'm Michael Connor, Aisha Morrison over there,
Yes.
John Hickman below me, Stan Norfleet down in the corner. Thanks for stopping by. We got a lot to get into tonight in our hour of Texans conversation as the training camp wonderful whirlwind of news. At least, hey, the Texans aren't in all the dramatic news that are out there. We're going to get through some of our first week observations to start. I want to talk about Titus Howard with some interesting comments. D'Amico also making some in terms of how his coaching style will come out this year. And then are there shots being fired across the board at places? We'll talk about that at the end of the show tonight. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, so week one observations. John Hickman, you are going to kick us off because you were out at training camp today. What do you got for us?
Yeah, man, my biggest observation, and let me just say this, Friday was my first day out there, third day. It was a walkthrough day because of the weather. The Texans were on the inside of the bubble. No pass yet, but my observation from today, number one, I see a lot of motioning going on in that offense when they were doing their walkthroughs and indies and even with the crossovers, just seeing guys going from the inside out, outside in. This is a learning period. Like, I know a lot of us are super excited to talk football, talk Texans football specifically. That's why you guys are here with the Texans Squad Show. But so far, it's a lot of us learning and getting caught up to speed. But the biggest observation of all is the Houston Texans drafted Ariante Ursary to be on the field, and it looks like for him to be on the field week one. I'm sorry, it's raining cats and dogs and a little bit of bulls on parades outside, so if you can hear that, I apologize. But Ariante Ursary has been running with the first-team starters every day at right tackle.
John, let me add to that they've done, apparently by design, they've been mixing up the offensive line all 3 days, meaning the starting unit. Yeah. So, for example, Blake
to that
Fisher
point, he has been the assistant.
Yeah. On
he's
Wednesday,
been a constant.
Blake Fisher went out there with the ones. For example, like we during OTAs and minicamp, I was raising holy hell about Jared Patterson not being in starting center and Jake Andrews was starting. Well, come out to start camp. Now Patterson is back in there starting, and Jake Andrews is rotating with the twos. And then when they go to the second team unit in another drill, or the first team unit in another drill, then Andrews is going in there. They are really just mixing and matching as they go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, in regard to Ariante Ursary, y'all, I'm not even gonna lie. I ain't even gonna lie. When we first started talking about the offensive line and stuff, and we were like, I think y'all were kind of saying that y'all thought he wasn't going to be, brought in as to expected to be a starter. Like he was going, in my mind, I was sitting up here like, I'm gonna shut up because they probably know better than I do. But I was definitely curious, like the capital that you gave up, to go move up and get him. I'm thinking, why wouldn't you expect for him to? I thought he was going to be competing, so I'm actually happy to see that he is getting the opportunity, and they're trying to throw him into the fire. I guess, did any of y'all hear anything that would suggest that this was the expectation for him to come in and be a part of the early rotation?
No,
I think it's
I haven't heard
for me
anything.
personally. I'm not comfortable. I'm not comfortable saying. What'd you say, John?
No pass yet. So they are still in that rotational phase of figuring things out. But to your point, Aisha, he may just be the best option out there for them right now. I mean, this is my first time seeing him physically Friday. You don't buy that?
You don't buy that?
He's a left tackle. That's all he's ever played is left.
Right now, no, Trent Brown is not out there. He hasn't practiced. They are locked in at Titus Howard at right guard. So it leaves us with Blake Fisher. The two options, I think the Houston Texans feel like the rookie is the better option to go with right now. And I do want to add, for this being my first time to see that young man, he comes into the NFL with a way more NFL ready body.
His body for sure.
His body is, and you know, I was blown away a little bit. So,
from all accounts, Blake Fisher has done what he needed to do in the offseason. His body looks much better. He has gained some mass. We'll see if Cole Popovich has improved his technique when those pads come on. But I'm going to stand on the table for this mindset. Like sometimes position flex is cool, but let's make sure I am an expert and dominate one of those things first. Ariante Ursary has exclusively, he was an All-American at left tackle. Leave him there. If Blake Fisher is not the option, and by the way, Trent Brown, all 6'8", 360 pounds of him, did clear. He's not practicing, but he is not on the PUP list from what I remember. I think you're going to get to that here in a little bit, Mike. I think by the time we get to actual week 1, we'll have a different right tackle. I think Ursary has some upside, obviously. I just don't prefer that it be on the right side.
So he's doing work. Did he do work on the left side at all? Or was it all right?
He did. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
because when I say what I say
say
about the competition, I was talking about the left tackle position. I did not expect for him to be doing right tackle stuff. I thought that he would at least be in the competition for the left tackle.
I never saw that. The left tackle is Cam Robinson. So what they have been consistent
Cam Robinson's not that good.
But they're paying him $12 million. They guaranteed him $12 million. So they're going Cam Robinson, to me, outside of just something crazy happening, Cam Robinson is going to start at left tackle. Laken Thomas is going to start at left guard. And my understanding, having not been in practice yet, the majority of the times the first unit has gone out, it has been those two on the left side in Robinson and Tomlinson.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Popovich also talked about just playing clean football, eliminating bad football, getting good at the basic techniques, and believes that they'll be better and emphasize on doing the things the right way. And so all of that being said, you want to go out there with your best to set that example. And so when I say things like, maybe they look at Ursary as a better option at right tackle right now, that may just be because the confidence in Blake Fisher to do some of those things. Now, granted, no pass on. And I am big on until we get pads on when talking about the trenches, it only can go so far. But there's confidence in Ariante Ursary right now, putting him out on the field at right tackle compared to where the confidence or lack thereof is for Blake Fisher.
I don't know about y'all. I still don't love the idea of plug and play all over the place. Like you've been saying, Stan, I feel like they just want, I kind of try to make, equivalent to baseball, like baseball has utility players all over the place. I feel like that's what they want in a lineman. They want utility linemen, and I hate that.
Well, the NFL is starting to do that. Obviously we've seen guys be interchangeable and versatile and stuff like that, but that's becoming something that's super important to a point to where I think that some guys are losing, their position of value just because they're not like a flex player from an offensive line standpoint coming out the draft. But I agree with you, Michael. Sometimes I do think that it's a little overdone, and I agree with Stan. It's just you got to let a kid develop in their position and master their craft as opposed to just having them be like a jack of all trades. And also, I think that this is because the seasons are so long, and the expectation is that guys are going to go down, and also to the lack of development at the position. But I don't like it either, Michael. I don't like it. I be fussing about it down here.
I'm not justifying it at all, guys. I think for Houston, because this is a crucial year for them, and it's going to be a crucial year each and every year until they kind of max out what they can be with CJ Stroud at quarterback and DeMeco Ryans. They got to figure out who the best 5 is. They've said that all. To be fair, they've said it since OTAs. We're going to put the best 5 out.
That's so much.
No, Ariante. But I know he's a left tackle.
No,
his
tackle
essentially still tackle. But I feel like they think he is a part of the best 5.
I hate when people say, not you, I hate when people when they're being disingenuous. You can't tell me I want to put the best 5 out there and your best right tackle, Titus Howard, is playing right guard. So stop that. They got to get out of that. They know I shouldn't say that. We'll see.
But you know what? Now I will say this. In fairness, I want to give a lot of love to Titus Howard. Titus Howard is a player that when he got that extension, I thought that was a mistake for the Houston Texans. Titus Howard is a player that when they moved on from Laramie Tunsil, I immediately thought to myself, and I talked about it on the show, hey, he's going to have to be the leader in that room. To be the best leader, you got to prepare to be the leader. And the preparation that Titus Howard has put in to get his body ready physically to play guard, that dude is jacked up. That dude is, I'm talking about, he is big. And so I do want to give a lot of credit to him. He also talked about the difference between last year's mindset to this year's mindset, taking on that leadership role. I'm giving a lot of love to Titus right now because as we talk about the rookie and we talk about Blake Fisher and everything, to see Titus Howard be the leader in that room and getting his body ready physically, I got to give a lot of love to and credit to. So shout out to T. Howard.
I do want to stay in the trenches if I could, Michael. I'll come right back to you. Day one, the offense won the first day on Wednesday. The defense came back and was excellent on day two. Jalen Petrie gets an interception, an overthrow by C.J. Stroud, and runs it back for a pretty good distance. But for me, the conversation, Will Anderson Jr. right now, Will Anderson Jr. is out there in regular season form from what I understand. They're having, they really might need to talk to Will. Bro, we're in install right now. Like, Will is in one speed, and that's all he's doing is screaming off the edge. And it wouldn't surprise me. Now, D'Amico's going to gas it because he know it gets under the skin of the offensive players. But Will has got to control that for a little bit, my boy. We got to make sure that the offense gets some work. He's just wrecking drills. They're going to pull him on the field.
Don't put anybody else on the pup list, which we do need to get to the pup list before we finish our first segment here real quick. There's a lot of guys on it. I'm just going to rattle them off, and you guys tell me where your level of concern is overall for this. Danico Autry is on the pup list. Derek Barnett, Trent Brown, Eli Cox, Tank Dell. I can never say his first name. Fudakasi. I'm sorry to him.
Fudakasi.
There you go. Kirk Heinisch, Casey Osai, Damian Pierce, J.J. Taylor, and Jimmy Ward, rounding out the pup list. Or did I mention Joe Mixon? I didn't say Joe Mixon, did I? Did I say Joe Mixon?
And also Mixon, even though he's not on the PvP list, day three.
He's not. He's on the
non-football injury list.
That's right. So where's our level of concern with all this coming in?
No, right now for the first 3 days. My only real concern is not seeing Christian Harris out there. I thought he missed too much last year because of the injury. And he is a player that I just really want to see back out on that field. They brought in EJ Speed, another year with another year under Aziz. Harris is a player that is a playmaker in their linebacker room, but the amount of time they have seen him on the field, lack thereof, it is concerning.
Can I say
Christian Harris is not on the pup list, so we were excited that he wasn't on the list, but then he's still not practicing. He's still off to the side with the training staff. So this is going on now. We're over
another year.
Yeah, we're a year into Christian Harris and his calf, and I am growing. Of all the players we said that you named, Christian Harris is the one that has the most of my attention. Now I will say this. J.J. Taylor, running back, not practicing. Damian Pierce, running back, not practicing. Joe Mixon, running back, not practicing. We'll talk about this again because this comes up when we get to the Titus Howard in the next segment. But the ability or the lack thereof to get quality reps early in camp during this install period for running the football, primarily for the running back spot. Look, my man Nick Chubb is trying to get himself back healthy. I don't know that I want him having an abundant workload right now. So between him and a rookie Woody Marks, they're running out of some bodies to have a quality look during this install period with the starters. So it's just something I'm keeping my eye on.
Yes, Stan, that point that I was going to make is, the guys that you don't have out there necessarily for the running back position. Sounds like Lee Marks is, making his name known a little bit. And then also too, but I also understand too that with Damian Pierce, with Woody being out there right now, I just feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's a weird position for either one of them to be in to me. So That's my biggest concern right now is the running back room and the amount of guys that aren't like the 2 guys that's not out there right now and how that matters. And like you said, Stan, Nick Chubb is tempering himself. You can kind of tell he's kind of tempering himself and how he's running the ball from what I saw on the reports and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know if I would want that either.
British Brooks, Jawar Jordan, Dario Mbawale was also out there today. I think I'm missing the back as well. So they got some guys out there.
Yeah, Gerard
Day
Jordan
3
is somebody
was
I
a
think.
slow day.
Yeah, I think Gerard Jordan has Kevontae Turpin-esque qualities as far as like the shiftiness and being able to get upfield and stuff. Like it sounds like Gerard Jordan.
Oh, Jawar, yeah.
Yeah. We know
Carolina popped his ACL last year. Yeah.
Bye. But it sounds like he's getting some looks in the run and pass as well, just trying to make.
Oh, I'm thinking about British Brooks. I'm sorry, Louisville. Yeah.
Yeah, Louisville. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
So
keep those guys healthy. Go ahead.
What I say is a couple names for me that were not on the pup list that I was pleasantly surprised. Number one, Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan was ready to go for the first day of practice on Wednesday. Looked like he was out there getting acclimated in that tight end room. We have pontificated a lot, almost ad nauseum, about, especially John, wanting to see more from the tight end room in 2025 than we saw in 2024. That boy Dalton Schultz been kind of quiet too, but it was good to see Brevin out there, him coming back off of an ACL also, and keeping the motif of ACL. Back there looking relatively smooth, looking like the former All-Pro that he is. I think he was second team in 2022. Braxton Berrios, punt returner coming off an ACL. They said he was back there looking very fluid, showing no ill effects as of now, coming off his ACL. So he may look like he may be that 6th or 7th receiver because of his return ability.
Awesome.
Hey, the Texans are great at special teams. Anything to make them better, that's going to be a big part of it. Let's talk about Titus Howard's comments that we mentioned about the offensive line and how they're attacking this season. That's next year, the Locked On Texans Squad Show. First up, though, I need to tell you guys about where you're getting your tickets this year. Well, have you ever decided last minute that you want to just head out to a ball game with your family or your friends? Maybe it's game day, and, well, you're sitting here saying, I want to be at that game, and you're not at that game. Well, Gametime is here to get you exactly where you want to be with the last-minute tickets. The easiest way to grab those last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch. I mean, they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime, the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easier to browse the app for exciting upcoming MLB games like this weekend in Houston. The Astros are hosting the Athletics all weekend long on a Hall of Fame weekend. Celebrating Billy Wagner. Go out and see that fun celebration. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Texan Squad Show on a Friday. Thank you for joining us if you're watching live, and if you're listening to this later on, we appreciate you as well. I am Michael Connor. That's Aisha Morrison. John Hickman on the other side down there below me, and then Stan Norfleet in the corner. We're talking all things Houston Texans as they have kicked off training camp. And, Titus Howard had some things to say that caught you guys' attention, caught y'all's attention, and I think probably should catch everybody's attention. The biggest change, this is on the biggest change in the offensive line room for the Texans so far this year, according to Titus Howard. He says, I think attitude. Everybody, it's a competitive group. So, everybody got to go out there and earn the right to play for the Texans. So everybody out of the group has a positive attitude, showing up to work every day, putting in the work, and keeping their head down so we can be the best group that there is. He went on to talk about a lot, of other things. And really, I think the only other thing that caught my attention here that I'll bring up, if there's any others that you guys wanted to bring up, you're more than welcome to. On his new offensive coordinator, Cole Popovich, he said, I'd say the number one thing is that it's just more demanding. I said we let stuff get by last year. That wasn't good enough. But one thing that Cole is, he's demanding, and he's going to treat everybody and coach everybody the same way. And I think it's one of the biggest things in having a great offensive line coach. I just know that his mentality rubs off on us every day because he's not going to settle for less. So what do we make of Titus Howard's comments? Is it shots fired at people that are no longer in the building? Stan, you want to kick it off? You're on mute, sir.
I think sorry about that. I think that there's an element of shots fired. I think some of that is that Chris Strausser, the former offensive line coach, some of that may be for Bobby Slowick. Some of that may be for Laremy Tunsil. And we've heard these same sentiments that you just quoted Titus on from there. D'Amico has said some of the same things, CJ and others. So, look, all that, I'm going to call that water under the bridge to some degree. And Titus went on, and one of the things that jumped out to me, Titus was talking about, there's a new nastiness in this offensive line room and, quote, wanting to play downhill. He said the scheme is a lot more simple this year. And if you know anything about Cole Popovich coming from New England and his days under the famed Dante Scarnecchia, one of the best to ever do it in coaching the offensive line, Strauss is like, look, man, Popovich, he's like, look, man, this is what we're going to do. Finally, what I heard, and Titus echoed that, this offense is going to be rooted in running the football first. That is the primary focus and the execution of what they want to do. Whether it's gap, whether it's zone, however they want to do it. The bottom line is Titus is now the one of the old heads in that room. And I do think between him, Trent Brown, who knows the offense, having played in it, the right tackle from New England, Lakin Tomlinson knows what D'Amico expects from his days with him in San Francisco, and apparently Cam Robinson has played for everybody in the NFL at this point. So there's no scheme that he has not seen. Even Titus says that this current scheme, there are elements of it from his first year in the NFL. So I suspect
a lot of these guys mentioned will be
look better. Here's my problem. If it was awful a year ago and it's better, that's still bad. And I don't know that it's good enough to play in an AFC title game.
Well, I mean, that's rational to think. That stood out to me as well. First of all, Titus Howard is, you mentioned earlier, John, that he seems like he's really taken over the leadership role. I just think that the way that he speaks about things is like digestible for people, because I felt like I was learning some things as he was talking to the media. But as far as the scheme goes, him saying that it was simpler makes sense. And then they're going to be doing, when he said double teams, I'm like, yeah, like that probably will be something that would help an offensive line that has some weak points and stuff like that. You can kind of hide guys a little differently in that. So I think that scheme sounds a little bit conducive to what you need to do for your run game. But I also am like, is he, when he's saying like it's different, because he did say that it feels like our mindset last year wasn't like this year. So what was the mindset like last year?
Everywhere.
That's in my notes. I'm like, well,
everywhere.
What the hell? And John, I'm coming to you. He said in one of those quotes, guys, he says, yeah, like last year, there were times that if we made a mistake, guys would just freelance. So I'm like, well, how is Laremy Tunsil and Titus and Shaq Mason a two-time Super Bowl champ? How are y'all allowing this to happen? Well, it was uncomfortable for me to hear Titus say that, but I respect the real talk.
No, I think and I'm not going to say I think. From conversations that I've had with people in the organization, man, there was too many voices in that room. There was not a clear-cut voice at the leadership position in terms of the coaching. I think you know this, Stan, MC, you've heard it as well, I'm sure, just how much Chris Strausser was in and out in terms of does he want to continue, does he not want to continue? And then at times, some of those guys were going to Cole Popovich for that leadership, but Cole was, he came down to, his job was to coach him up, but then Chris Strausser's job was to figure out who goes out on the field. But it was a lot of who's going to be the top dog, or the amount of voices in that room last year. And they got Laremy Tunsil out of there. Stan, I know Laremy is your boy, but that was important.
I didn't say. Go ahead.
That's been your boy.
He's
That's
your
been
boy.
your boy. But moving on from Laremy. Laremy has always come off. He's a great player. This is not disrespect, but he's going to do the things the way he wants to do it for Laremy. And that's okay. He's made a lot of money doing that. But with this team, it does feel like a reset. He mentioned like the scheme is a lot more simpler. The biggest thing with Nick and Cole is the mindset. Our mindset last year wasn't like it was this year. I think there was a shot at the guys that were in the room, whether it was coaches or players, and also just looking in the mirror, especially for Titus. Titus, this is the first time you've been in this position. So how are you going to ascend from what people may have thought about you being the buddy cop of Laremy Tunsil? And I've been proud to see him in his growth, but last year was just complete dysfunction. This year does seem like it's more cohesiveness from leadership on down.
Well, I want to come back to the double team, the duo concept. You know, for the folks at home, when you hear that, you can double team at various points along the offensive line. It's based on whatever the defensive alignment is. Are they in an odd front? Are they in an even front? You can double team the shade, the nose. Some people even double team the three. And it's really about working in concert with your running back room. Being able, you hear the term, press the line of scrimmage, allowing the running back to get to the line of scrimmage. They teach those guys to run the daylight. So if you get big Titus, and John opened up the segment talking about what Titus has done with his body, knowing that he's going to be inside at that right guard spot. If you can get the right center, whether it's Andrews or Patterson, and you start double teaming, whether it be, you know, on that shade, going up to and getting one of those linebackers when you fall off and overlap there. If you start getting, whether it's Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, Darray, Woody Marks, it doesn't matter. In other words, you start getting a yard and a half, 2 yards before you're really getting in the teeth of the defense. It changes the way you call plays offensively. Too many times a year ago, by not double teaming, by wanting to get on that outside track in that outside zone scheme that Chris Strawson preaches, too many times the outside zone is beautiful when you get those dancing bears, but it opens up too many seams for defenders to come through the back door or to slide through those double teams and make plays, tackle for loss in the backfield, which happened to Joe Mixon far too often.
And you guys know, if you don't move as a unit in cohesive zone blocking, you might as well throw it out the window, because with those leaks and you got to have a body here at this. If that body isn't there, or if you don't move at one time, then you may have a linebacker and D tackle coming in at one time. And we've seen it happen with Joe Mixon. We've seen it happen with play action passes, getting pressure on CJ Stroud.
Especially when you don't know who to block. I said this last year, and this has been confirmed. Like during the season last year, I was saying to myself, they don't know who to block. Like they are actually confused by the alignment and the fronts that they're facing every week. So I'm going, who the bleep is coaching these men? There's nothing Laremy Tunsil and Titus and Shaq Mason have not seen in the game of football from an alignment standpoint. So where are the adjustments? And so now we're starting to get confirmation. They didn't know who to block and they didn't know how to adjust. And that's unfortunate, which gives me cause to believe, okay, Cole Popovich, not sure that I would have kept the guy that was in the room as the assistant, but he said today, hey, there's a difference when the buck stops with you as the head guy on the offensive line. But they didn't know what the hell to do last year.
That's all facts. And it was frustrating to watch. And Stan, you make a great point. Tunsil been in the league 10 plus years. Mason been in the league 10 years. Titus been in the league, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Like those guys have seen it all. And I'll take it a step further and say, we've seen those guys as an offensive line play better. So what happened in year 2? Okay, year 2, it all comes down to film room. How serious was that being taken? Looking at the mistakes that were being made and how often those mistakes were being made. And also if a coach just gave a damn or not.
That's what I was about to say. This also sounds motivational, bro. I was going to go ahead, John. But I was going to say,
if the OC and offensive line coaching on the same page with the terminology and schematically how they want to attack defenses from offensive line standpoint, you ain't going to get nowhere.
So is this team with the offensive line, are y'all anti preseason, play preseason, not play preseason, with what we're talking about right now with this
Play.
offensive line
Play.
and needing as
We
much
should be
time as
playing.
possible. I'm hearing that y'all want to see some
Play.
sequences
But here's
Play.
the problem, right? They're going to do these joint practices.
or the
and
joint practices.
They're going to cop out of playing in games, which is fun. I mean, I guess you're getting, real live bullets in action, right? In
Mhm.
practice where they can a controlled atmosphere. They always love to use that.
Mhm.
I say play. There's no reason.
I think when you're installing all the new offensive line, new O-line coach, new play caller, new weapons on offense, it's a lot of new. They should be utilizing every opportunity within reason, OTAs, mini camp, preseason, joint practices, everything. Like, I don't know that, and John, you were there. I'll probably go over there next week if I can. But like, I need to feel a sense of urgency to be better in the postseason. And I've been around teams, I've covered teams that you could tell off the rip. The Carolina Panthers, for example, when they had Cam in 2014 and they finally got there in 2015, you could sense they had been knocking, and then they were finally going to knock the door down and get into the conference championship game and then, God willing, the Super Bowl. I'm not feeling, from reading, watching, and listening, I'm not feeling the sense of urgency. Now, it sounds good, but I don't know. That may be unfair. It's just a thought that I have right now.
I think it
We'll
just
see
sounds like
more
they
when we
got.
getting on pads.
Yeah. As far as the feeling, no, I ain't gonna hold you. Like there is validity to, people's demeanor and how they feel and how they talk. And you guys, like, you know these players to a degree, but I do think that like there is a feeling of like I listen to a lot of the interviews. It feels like there's so much to fix. Does it make sense? Like, I don't know. It just seems like everything is very much so like, if we do this, we got to do this. Like, there's a lot of things that they're looking to change and to improve on. And like, do we need to temper what we think they really can improve on, or what like is going to take some time through
They don't
this
have
season?
time. Like, that's why I love pro football. Pro football, you get graded in front of the world every week. And at the end of those 18 weeks, if you didn't take care of your business, you have to get out of the chair and you got to let somebody else go. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a GM, whether you're a player, you can be all pro this year. You can go from all pro to out of a job in a matter of weeks in this game.
Yeah.
And that's the part I love. It's the ultimate competition from a team sport standpoint, excuse me. So I'm in agreement with you, Aisha. I just need to feel more, hey, we're going to get there. We are working to get there. Here is the goal. We're going to figure it out. Now, they did talk about, and Titus did have a quote saying, it's our responsibility to protect CJ. We didn't do that well enough last year. That is on us. We have to take more pride in making sure that Seven's head is not being picked up off the ground as it was in Kansas City on that January.
They have to do a better job of that. And the head coach thinks that he has to do something else this season that he may not have done in the first 2 years. And we're going to talk about that next year on the Locked On Texans Squad Show. Right now, though, I need to remind you guys about fantasy football. It's coming up. Are you ready for it? Yeah, this episode's brought to you by Yahoo Fantasy. Fantasy football's back. Fire up the group chat, get your draft board ready, and buckle up for a season filled with breakouts, busts, and all the overreactions we live for. It's all going down on Yahoo Fantasy. This year, well, me and everybody else right here playing on Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. Been using Yahoo Fantasy for years, playing with my brother and our group of friends. Easy setup, great mobile app. Well, just the smack talk is way better with the message boards and whatnot in there. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days, giving you more ways to play, more ways to draft, and more ways to win. It all begins August 4th. Stay tuned and get started by creating or joining Yahoo Fantasy Football League at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. That's yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And let's make this fantasy season the best one yet. Squad Show Friday continues. Michael Connors, Aisha Morrison, Stan Norfleet, John Hickman. We're talking Houston Texans football. Training camp is officially underway. Pads will be popping before you know it, and games will be played on the football field on top of that.
Thank you,
DeMeco Ryans is in year 3. It's been a successful first 2 seasons to his head coaching career. Is it the result that he wanted at the end of either one of them? Of course not. Came to an end way faster than not. This is one of the few coaches in the NFL that is a defensive-minded coach at this point. So we've talked a lot about that and the challenges this team has offensively to get better. Of course, in the offseason, he let go of his buddy Bobby Sloak. He brings in Nick Caley to be the offensive coordinator. We've talked about the offensive line coach in the last segment as well. But one of the things that, we don't get a chance to peel back the curtain and really get an idea of how it works all the time is how these coaches delegate to other coaches. And this quote from DeMeco this week is something that I think that is a good thing to hear to an extent. But you guys tell me, delegating for me, it looks a lot. I look for a lot of different things. It's just understanding I'm one person and I'm just relinquishing a lot of trust and giving a lot of trust to others to handle many things. It's not just about play calling. There's a lot of duties that are on my plate that I give others just to see how they can grow. That's part of me as a leader. I think as a leader, you're tasked to grow and develop other leaders. With that, you have to put people in positions to allow them to lead. Sometimes taking a step aside and seeing them grow and being okay with the mistakes, knowing that the mistakes and things will happen. But that's how you learn from it. That's how I learned best, being in the various positions that I've had. Someone gave me an opportunity to do that and allow me to fail, where I learned a lot of lessons, which allowed me to be better at what I'm doing. Do we like that DeMeco feels like he's maybe letting his coaches coach a little bit more? Not saying that he wasn't letting him coach before, but clearly his hands were a little bit tighter on the rope when it came to how coaches operated last year. Aisha, how do you feel about this quote from DeMeco?
I mean, it's a part of the growing process as a head coach and understanding what works and what doesn't. And also, too, he's still I think, obviously DeMeco's come in and seen great success, but he's still, a young coach in his own right. So for me, I enjoy hearing him say that he understands he has to, delegate. That's going to take some stress off of him, but also, too, there's trust being built there as well. And if you do want to do what Stan talking about, then there's going to have to be that amongst these coaches, and also to a general, consensus on a lot of decisions. So to me, good for him.
I feel like he can trust the people now to do it.
Yeah.
And I say that because, and I think we're going to get into it to close out, but just hearing some of the comments DeMeco Ryan said, in comparison to where the team was last year to where they are now, and then to hear him say like he's comfortable and able to delegate things to his coaches. Maybe he didn't feel like he could do that last year,
or maybe he just like, if they mess up, I don't know. What's your faces for, Stan?
Is there a coach on the last 2 seasons? Is there a coach on the Texans roster that DeMeco trusts more than Bobby Sloak?
Well, we think publicly, but maybe behind closed doors.
So and that's what I was getting at, because listen, the comment DeMeco said about copy and paste and adaptability and everything. If we
copy
see
and paste
it,
was below the belt.
That was crazy, right? But if we see it,
nasty word.
My favorite, diabolical. If we see it, they see it before we do. And sometimes you want to give guys a chance to maybe take some constructive criticism to make changes, but through 18 weeks and then the playoffs, there wasn't no changes. So maybe now with Nick Caley, who throughout the interview process, we know DeMeco was heavily involved in. Maybe with Nick Caley, the plan is, everything that I like to do defensively, he's showing me a way he wants to do it offensively. I like this guy. This is my 3rd year. I have to take on more in terms of being the head coach and building this roster. I'm going to let him do what I trust him to do, because I hired him along with Nick Caserio. I like his approach. I got to make sure everybody else is okay. So I do think, based off what we've heard, and we could be over-speculated, there's a little bit more trust in Nick Caley in 2025 than Bobby Sloak in 2024, not 2023.
Hell no.
Right there.
Hell no.
I ain't saying all that.
No. We're not gonna do that. Come on now. Let's on this show. We talk about real football.
He's trying.
Do you think that there was any trust left after how they blew the Detroit Lion game?
No. Bobby Slowick. Let me be clear. Dang it. Nick Caley. And by the way, CJ calls him Kales. I'm not there. It's Caley. I'm not calling Nick Caley Kales. So CJ,
he's not asking you.
This
to
is
call
the
him
remix
that.
to this offense.
Love of muffins.
Hiding fresh out the kitchen.
Yeah, no, I'm just not feeling it. So here's what I'm gonna say. Do we understand? Like, it is more likely than not. It is more unlikely that what the Texans accomplished in the first 2 years under Slowick will be replicated. And I'm talking about an offensive rookie of the year. I'm talking about Nico going to his first Pro Bowl. I'm talking about people that said, Aisha, you should have seen the reports. When the Texans signed Joe Mixon, half the fan base said he was done. There was no tread left on the tires. Why did we give him a contract? And I told the people then, when I was doing local radio in this city, you're going to look up and you're going to be thankful for Joe Mixon. Voila. So my point is, the Dalton Schultz that we saw in 2023, we ain't going to get slow at none of that. So I just think we have to be careful that we cast Slowick as it was all him and he was the worst play caller we've ever seen, and he didn't do a decent job at worst in getting a functional template to work from.
In part, isn't that because of the first year wonder of things? Like, they're fresh.
You don't have anything to do with that?
But teams aren't scheming for what the Texans are doing specifically. Maybe the Texans are having different wrinkles than the exact scheme that they're running out in San Francisco. That's my question is maybe it's the fresh newness. The league catches up to you. They get the book on you. And then I thought in year 2, the biggest issue was the fact that they did not ever adapt. It literally took Bobby Slowick and the Texans getting called out by the public.
I'm not disputing that.
That's my
I'm
question.
not disputing that.
No, I'm not saying I'm questioning, is that part of the equation of Bobby Slowick and why we're here?
Yes. But the question is, can Nick Caley be as good as Bobby Slowick was in 23 and 24? When you won 2 playoff games and you have 2 divisional championships with a quarterback in his first 2 years. I'm just saying I need to see sometimes different doesn't mean better. It just means different. I think Nick Caley is different. We're going to find out if he's better. Now, he has the advantage, and this is where coming back to D'Amico. D'Amico, if you're wrong on Nick Caley, you now have been 0 for 2, and we have wasted 3 or 4 years in C.J. Stroud and a rookie deal. So the pressure is on that he be right, which is why in a previous show, I have said I would have preferred D'Amico go with a more veteran and seasoned play caller to know it may not have the upside of the wonderkin, but at least I know it's going to be healthy, it's going to be improved, and it will give our quarterback a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Fair.
D'Amico also has been spending more of his time, as reported, on the offensive field as opposed to over there with his defense. How do you all feel about that? Personally, I would expect that. D'Amico's got some cachet through these first 2 years. He knows, okay, the blueprint has been installed. We're running the same defense. And I expect Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter and Aziz and C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Stingley and Petrie, like they all know what I want. Sheldon Rankins is back. They all know what I expect. The veterans are over there. I should say the guys that are playing are the veterans over there. I need to go down here and make sure this offense is functioning right because D'Amico knows everything that I just said. He's just not going to say that to the public.
And at this point, if Matt Burke can't call the defense into year 3 of how D'Amico wants to call it, we'd have a problem there too, correct?
I want D'Amico calling the defense.
I'm saying, but
training camp practices, Matt Burke should be able to run everything.
Oh yeah, he should be able to say, "Hey, let's run this."
And they didn't lose. They didn't lose a coach on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how much longer they're gonna have with Dino Vasso or Rod Wright. I got a chance to talk to him today. No, I'm saying I don't like being on the offensive side of the ball during practices. Looking at how things are being ran. That's great. My thing was, where was the trust level in Bobby Sloyd towards the end of last year? I'm asking. Do you think there was on a scale of 1 to 10? Non-existent. And a lot of that, when you have a defensive coordinator that makes adjustments throughout the game to give his team the best chance and opportunities to win, when you look on the other side of the ball and that's not happening, that becomes frustrating. That can lead you to essentially what we saw. Hey, you know what? Thank you. You're my friend and all, but we got to move on. And when Nick Caley, his pitches, adaptability, working to our scheme, working to get the best out of guys. And not only have we heard Nick Caley say this, but players are also echoing the same sentiment. Then, I am inclined to believe that D'Amico is like, you know what? I can delegate some things a little bit to my assistant coaches. Also, Jake Moreland has been here since D'Amico got here. Ben Matthews has been here since D'Amico got here. So they moved on from 2 guys. They kept the rest of the group, brought in some extra guys, but there may be more trust because the message between what I want to do for my defense, what you want to do for your offense, and what we would need to accomplish for a team is the same.
And they keep sending out these messages that are, we'll talk, we brought some of them up there, but is this shots fired? And I have a question for you guys in terms of the shots fired. We'll talk about that here in a second, the Locked On Texans Squad show. All right, we continue on the Texans Squad show. I'm trying to get Aisha back. I think she got the stand treatment. She got sniped.
Oh, I'm up and running, baby. Yeah. My carrier. We good.
It's all that bleak talking we did about you getting sniped all the time. One of us got sniped. Let's talk more about the fact that, you know, the Texans were talking about shots fired with D'Amico and some of the things that he had to say. Do we have an issue with this at all? Because, you know, I get it. You know, last year they're not pleased with it. There's a lot of things that maybe they would like to get off their chest, but they couldn't get off their chest necessarily. But is it at all petty and weird to you guys that we're sitting here taking these subtle shots to people that aren't here anymore? What does it matter?
I don't classify it as a shot per se.
Okay.
So we
let's have a little fun. Let's put some drama out there just a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, we live in this world as a society where everything has become polarized, likely due to the political climate over the last decade. So it's like, you can't just say something in a vacuum about whatever the circumstance is. It's got to be reflective and indicative of how you feel about something overall. So whenever somebody says, hey, it can be as simple as, I like this game plan or I like this mindset this year. It doesn't mean I hated last year. It just means I like this one better. But then we got to polarize it and make it, oh, shots fired. I don't think D'Amico, Bobby Sloyd is still his boy. I don't think like they grew up in the ranks together. Now, I don't know their personal, how often they were having dinner together during Sloyd's 2 years here, but I find it hard to believe based on what we know about D'Amico Ryans, that just because we can't work together doesn't mean the relationship has been severed. And I actually respect D'Amico for giving Bobby a chance. I respect him for giving Cole Popovich a chance to be a first-time O-line coach, as well as Nick Caley being a first-time play caller. So when you say shots fired, I think D'Amico just understands heavy is the head that wears the crown. And sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do for the sake of keeping the overall operation up and functioning.
Yeah, you know what? I got to stop doing that because I like to kind of put drama out there and be
I like it too.
Yeah, MC2 always poking.
I like to be an agent of chaos, but in this case, in him talking about, you know, the adaptability and copy and paste, a shot, somewhat of a shot, just a subtle jab, and it may not be directly to Bobby Sloyd, but just the frustrations of the offense in general. Because you look at Nick Caley, he does have multiple backgrounds of being in 2 different offenses. Mm-hmm. And I think that does play into what we believe will be a strength of his compared to Bobby Sloyd. I mean, he's all kind of San Fran the Shanahan offense. So I think the frustration I think the frustration with D'Amico and everybody last year was, why aren't we able to get over these humps and these bumps and roads that we're creating for ourselves because we're not able to do things differently. And with this offense, we don't know what the system will be. Like anytime a Shanahan coach gets hired from that tree, we pretty much know what the system is going to look like.
Yeah.
The one person that broke off from that play action pass, the person that broke
plays
off
at the beginning of the game every freaking week.
15 scripted.
But see, and the person that broke off from that and won a Super Bowl, Sean McVay. Sean McVay went to the Super Bowl doing things one way, won the Super Bowl doing things a little bit of mixture of different ways. So, and I think that plays into, how we may end up seeing Nick Caley. So I think that reflecting on 2024, the frustrations, we can all just say the bumps in the roads the Houston Texans created for themselves that they were not able to get over became extremely frustrating to the point where Bobby Slowick and Chris Strausser had to leave. Get the boot.
I think people going back to, and I know you're saying the shots fired element. I'm not upset at D'Amico for making the changes that he feels needs to be made. He understands that, it's not like just because you don't have CJ on a rookie deal, like you can't go and win a Super Bowl once you pay him. The Eagles paid Jalen Hurts, and they just went to the Super Bowl. So what I'm saying is, from a financial dynamic, it changes the game plan. So that becomes a premium on making sure that your operation is up and running. And quite frankly, look, D'Amico is learning on the job too. He's still figuring out how to be a head coach at this level. This is the first time he's been a head coach at any level. So there are more responsibilities, and unfortunately, there are times that you're going to have to trust, your word, John, you're going to have to trust guys to get things done, and you're going to have to trust guys. D'Amico is specializing in the head coach stuff, the media availability stuff, the conversations with the agent, the meeting with the GM, over the dinner at the owner's house. Here's all of those things factor into the weight, the strength and conditioning staff, the nutrition staff, how the team is going to fly, where we're going to stay. D'Amico's in all those meetings. So he's like, I need to know that we're the football, the hardcore football stuff. I need to know that I can lead that to you, and it's going to get done the way I want it done. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's a good thing because I don't know, but did you feel like last year, like towards the end of the year, you could just kind of feel his exhaustion out loud?
It would be the trust and faith in guys to do what they need to do and not do what they need to do, be better.
Yeah.
So that was not there last year. It was after Detroit. I think that went completely out the window.
His press conferences looked like he had no joy left.
No, yeah, he definitely was. It had taken a toll on him, no question. But I also want to say this. I personally feel this way when I look at relationships, whether it be of a celebrity variety or just people that I know day to day.
Come on, you don't got to mention you friends with celebrities, Stan.
I'm talking about this social media climate and who's the new one? Klay Thompson and Meg Thee Stallion. What are they calling them? Clagan. So that's a thing now.
That isn't that like one of the oddest pairings we've ever seen.
Yeah, like Klay Thompson and Meg.
It came out of nowhere. Klay Thompson didn't have that kind of game. There's no way.
Hey, listen, one thing about shooters, they shoot. And he's one of the best shooters of all time in the NBA.
Yeah, he's also sitting on $300 million. So
yeah,
I'm sure
true too.
That has a little bit to do with it too. But listen, let me get back to the point. Regardless of the relationship, like, yes, D'Amico had every reason to say Bobby. Like, what the bleep was that? Now, Bobby might look at Caserio and go, bro, you got Kenyon Green in the game. Like, why don't I have anything better than Kenyon Green? Caserio, you went and got Blake Fisher. You went and got Juice Scruggs. These are your dudes. You gave Shaq Mason the money in the offseason, 2 years ago. I didn't tell you to do that, so to speak. So in other words, what I'm saying is I look at whenever a relationship concludes, I look at both sides and go, there's some truth from both perspectives. I'm sure Bobby Slowick could say, D'Amico, your clock management, what about all the big plays your defense gave up? So you can't put the way that the season didn't end up in the Super Bowl or in the AFC title game. It is unfair to hang all of that on Bobby Slowick. There was enough blame to go around. No?
Still doesn't mean I don't have to like him.
If the blame... Okay.
Did the defense give up big plays regularly last year?
I'm gonna say this.
He gave up more, than the year before, for sure.
Okay.
the blame can be placed on the majority of the blame should be placed on both Nick Caserio and Bobby Sloyd.
I agree with that 1,000.
The
And
defense,
D'Amico just a little bit.
yeah, for maybe bringing in his boy, maybe.
No. When your defense is getting lit up like that, when Travis Kelce is carving you a new, you know what, in the middle of the field, and you can't stop it in a playoff game, that's D'Amico Ryan's defense. He wanted Azeez Al-Shaair for the season in 2023. He didn't get him until 2024. Azeez is out there getting destroyed by Travis Kelce. That's on D'Amico and Azeez.
How many games did the Houston Texans lose last year because they were getting 3 instead of 6 or not getting to the red zone at all? How many games where we saw them come out in the second half and have to punt after punt after punt after punt? And while their defense is still keeping them in the game, having these one-score possessions.
I'm not disputing that the defense was the strength of the team. What I am saying is that defense, which was middle of the pack in points per game allowed,
Were they 12?
The defense, I believe they were 13.
13. And how often did we see that defense on the field in the second half more times than the offense? A lot.
Yeah,
What
a lot.
Two things can be true. The offense could have been a lot better, but where is the money on this team? Where are the free agents on this team? Now, last year, Laramie Tunsil and Shaq Mason, those guys are making the money on offense. It was still the money has skewed defense, and that's D'Amico's side of the ball. I'm going to judge a head coach based on what his side of the ball operates as. That's why Sean McVay, that's why Shanahan, that's why LaFleur, that's why Sirianni. Like, that's why the offensive play callers, they get the salute when the offensive side of the ball is getting busy.
Yeah, well, to this point, Texas did have the number 5 rank total yards defense.
I don't give a damn about total yards.
They were, like you said, 12-13 in points allowed per game. To me, that just screams at how often the defense was on the field and how often did the opposing offense already operate in good field position.
A coach told me once, MC, playing defense is like life. See, when you play on offense, they clap when you punt because you didn't turn the ball over. In defense, there's only 1 or 2 things that's going to happen, like life. You're either going to be successful or you're going to fall on your face, and it's going to motivate you to get back up on the horse. I'm not trying to hear no boohoo tears in nobody's beer because the defense got to go out there and play.
But to your point, to your point, they do got to be better in the red zone. That's where if that defense can improve anywhere this season, it is being a better red zone defense.
Fair point. Go ahead, Mike. I know you want to get us out, brother.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, really, I think overall with me, I think I lean towards John a little bit of, I mean, I understand what you're saying completely, Stan. You're right. Like, they are getting paid to do their job as well. And I always will be the first to criticize that. They go out there and they stink it up, the defense, in a certain drive, whatever. They're not doing what they're being paid to do. But I did feel like, last year that team, it felt like they put too much. They just put too much on relying on the defense to do too much for them every single game. And if that's a repeat this year, then we're going to be having the same conversations at the end of the season.
I agree with that.
And I don't want to have those conversations again. I know you guys right on it.
Slowick and Strasser and D'Amico could all have been better last year.
Mm-hmm.
Clear. And Caserio, right? Now, and here's the crazy part about this thing, and I know we got to move, Mike. What if Steph Diggs and Tank Dell don't go down?
Different defense.
What is the narrative of Bobby Slowick?
Maybe he's still here.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that
so I do want to say this with D'Amico's faults throughout the year. It felt like it was in a moment. In those moments, always he still had time to win games. With Bobby Slowick's faults throughout the year, it was in long, drawn out spurt. Like, it wasn't a spurt. It was like a quarter, 3 points. Punt more time than you was able to have a first down.
Right.
That is where, when I look at shouldering the blame and where it should go and whatever, Bobby Slowick.
So,
Well,
do I think they're taking shots at Slow? I don't. In other words, I don't know that it's like now. CJ, we know that things got contentious going all the way back to his draft visit between CJ and Slowitt, and apparently that was perpetuated throughout the 23 and 24 season. And maybe it got to a point where it's like, yo, CJ, and if the quarterback is unhappy and if the quarterback is uncomfortable, that energy is going to permeate throughout the entire building, not just the locker room. The whole building's going to know CJ and Slowitt ain't on the same page. And maybe it forced D'Amico's hand, and just guys were like, you know what, I'm going to do my own thing because Slowitt's going to get murked at the end of this season anyway.
And one of the things of last year, was eventually we heard come out, Slowitt can't take no criticism, no, not criticism, but advice on how to do things differently so players can maximize themselves. He wanted to do his thing, his way, and eventually that bit everybody in the ass.
He did. And now he's in Miami, and he's got his own set of drama to deal with down there, with all that's going on with their quarterback and their receiver. All right. That's been our hour. Let's get our parting shots in. John, would you like to lead us off?
Yes. Brevin Jordan is going to be, if he makes his roster, and I think he will, he's going to be important to the assistants to the offensive line room, the running back room, and the tight end room. Brevin Jordan, I don't want to classify him as an X factor, but in terms of players that does the dirty work, he is an X factor dirty work player, and you need players like that to be successful. I am very excited to see Brevin Jordan, and I think every preseason game, we should see the Houston Texans starters play at least 3 drives.
It's a lot of people over here in the comments. Be Mo exclusive, referencing Brevin Jordan and Schultz, J.B. Allen, the Annihilator. Several folks over here referencing the dynamic between Brevin Jordan and Dalton Schultz. I suspect and fully expect Schultz to be the starter, especially with Nick Caley's previous history with the tight ends. I think we'll see both of them on the field a lot. And apparently Cade Stover has been balling during these first 3 practices. People have been liking what they see from Cade Stover. So I wish those men the very best. We'll see how that plays out. Parting shot for me, what Titus had to say this week about the downhill mindset as it pertains to the run game. The Texans were 13th in the league last year in yards per carry and yards per game. That is an improvement in 2024 over what it was in 2023. The problem, however, red zone touchdown percentage. You talked about the red zone from a defensive standpoint, John. In the offensively, they were 28th in the league in the red zone. This team is going to be built running the football, play action off the run game, because even in these 3 training camp practices, there has not been an abundance of deep shots down the field. That's not what this offense is. There have been a lot of shallows and intermediate routes, and this is going to be a lot of yards after the catch. So can they rush the football? Tied for 12th were the Texans in rushing touchdown percentage in the league. They're going to have to be better in running the football. And again, they got 3 running backs, really 2, when you're talking about Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce, that are not practicing right now on the PUP list and the non-football injury list.
Yeah.
And I want to end my parting shot tonight. Now, John, you were out there today. Stan, you're going to get out there. I want to echo the sentiments of a Houston Texans legend. J.J. Watt took to Twitter today and said training camp stats are insane and ridiculous.
We got to give him something.
Used to think it was always just people joking, but now seeing them seriously reported. You have no idea what the purpose of that period is, what the goals are, what the context is, etc. He goes on to say a lot more, but I want to say yes to what J.J. Watt said. Between that and between the play-by-play on social media of training camp practice plays, don't be that person this training camp, the both of you. I love you dearly. Don't do it. Please.
So Jared Patterson, muscle snap, CJ picks the ball up late, throws it.
If I see one tweet from you, Stan, and you've tagged me in it, which I know you're going to do now when you go, we might have to fight on here. All right. Well,
who is that? Eric Ashton. Just because they have not thrown the ball down the field in practice doesn't mean they won't in games in a game plan.
I don't think that they're going to be searching for a lot of big shots down the
It's
field.
a different offense. That's not
It's
what
a
they're
different
doing.
offense. And I say this: the Texans got a type at receiver. They got a few guys 6'3" and big guys, but you know what, Stan? They got to get to their red zone when they do, and if it's a third down situation, they got two large human beings out there that can go up. And I think Jaden Higgins may be a better red zone target than Nico Collins, based off what I've seen in college. Honestly.
Hey, don't start that now, John. We got to save that for next week because you already know that's the trigger word for Stan.
My bad.
Can't say Jaden Higgins out loud. That's the trigger word. Maybe we have a topic.
Practice schedule. Texans, we got Saturday fans, the first time that the public will see.
Come holler at me.
Then Sunday,
if you can get out there with the weather.
Yeah, so they'll do practice Saturday, off Sunday, pads come on Monday.
And then guess what? Tuesday we can talk about it.
It's gonna be that time of the month.
It's gonna be that.
All right, Aisha. She in memory of Aisha that got
sniped.
Yeah, she got sniped. Bye, Aisha.
Bye. You guys have a great rest of your Friday night. We'll talk to you again on Tuesday on the Locked On Texans Squad show.